It's That's Lit with me, Shazzy D. Welcome to the show. Now, I have a question for you. Have you been scrolling on YouTube trying to find something to watch? Well, if you haven't already, be sure to check out this web drama called No Ordinary Love. Here's a little clip.
If a wedding could have a dislike button, the guests would be smashing it right now.
There's no need to panic. I can find her.
I cannot be trapped in here with you.
Trapped?
This day is supposed to be about Hannah, not us.
Everybody's so happy today.
Joining me on the show today is writer, one of the stars of the show, and the producer of the show, Esther Fwati. Esther, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Could you tell us, what is No Ordinary Love all about?
Oh, yes. So, No Ordinary Love is a kdrama-inspired rom-com web series. It's 5 episodes, 10 minutes long. It's about an inter-ethnic couple. We have Hyun Woo, who is Korean Australian, and Beck, who is Zambian Australian. They had a bit of a secret relationship away from the eyes of Beck's best friend, who just happens to be Hyun Woo's sister, and his parents and their family. But during that secret relationship, Beck broke up with Hyun Woo with zero explanation. He was heartbroken, hadn't heard from her or seen from her until his sister Hannah's wedding, where Beck shows up because that's her best friend. And now Hyunwoo's like, okay, this is my chance, my opportunity to find answers as to why this girl broke my heart. And so it's just a fun rom-com where we see this couple get thrown together in the same space where they don't want to be. Hyunwoo's hunting for answers and Beck's just trying to get away from him. And of course, in that close proximity, all of the butterflies start flying again, and romance leads to one thing to another, and yeah, it's just a fun show.
What I just love about it is, it's set in Australia. How great is that?
Yes.
Can you tell us what inspired the story?
Yeah, so pretty much it being set in Australia is something that I never thought of. Like, I was just writing a show that I wanted to see. As an actor, I think it was around 2020 when I first came up with this concept. At the time, I was just really sick of all the auditions I was getting. Not to say that they weren't good quality auditions, like the industry produces some good quality work. However, there's just a lack of work, especially for people of color, especially for African people in Australia, that is more than one-dimensional. Work that allows us to be seen in different roles and personalities. I was getting the same type of things coming through my inbox. It was always like either playing a nurse, a support worker, always someone who had an accent. And so I noticed, I was like, okay, it's definitely because Africans in Australia were such a small percentage of the population, but we're still here. And so it takes the culture, the society a while to realize that there are Africans here and we exist in many different forms and dimensions. So yeah, I just wanted to create something that I personally myself, this Black girl, would want to be in, something that she would want to watch and just enjoy turning up to set every single day. And for me at that time, and to this day, it's definitely K-drama inspired.
Wonderful. And it's just such a joy to watch. And I think there's just something also about, seeing yourself represented, seeing, a type of story that maybe other cultures or maybe other backgrounds are so used to seeing themselves in, but like people from African backgrounds, like I could see myself in it, like you see yourself in it. It's just so fun and refreshing. That's definitely what I got when I was watching it.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a big part of it. Even just seeing an interracial couple that isn't like a white individual with an ethnic person, I think in media is also rare. So that was another point that a lot of people have mentioned. They were like, it's great to see a different mix in terms of interracial, interethnic couples.
Speaking of that, it is, K-drama inspired, so there are obviously a lot of Korean references and a lot of bilingual language in there as well. How was that, putting that all together?
That was great. So early on in the process, I approached one of my good friends in Sydney, Helen Kim. Helen Kim is one of our producers on the show. She's also an actress. She plays Hannah, Beck's best friend, the runaway bride in the show. So Helen and I chatted, and we chatted about this project, and we both were born overseas. Helen was born in Korea. I was born in Zambia. And we both have this third culture kid experience growing up in Australia. There's Australian culture, there's our home culture, and then there's this mix of the both of them that we create in the middle. And so it's sort of in that area where we realized as actors, we're not getting those opportunities to play those types of roles. And we went about creating the story with our co-writer Mina, who was also one of the directors on the project. And we really wanted to make sure we adequately represented Korean Australian and Zambian Australian culture. So in the show, having bilingual, having a lot of languages involved in terms of having the mom speak Korean and the kids understand her and speak to her in English. It's a very Korean Australian experience. Even just for myself, who my parents speak to us in our home language, which is Bemba, I respond to them in English, which is very common for immigrant kids. So we wanted to put those experiences in because it's just very authentic to what the Australian immigrant kid experience is. We also wanted to make sure that we completely represented Korean Australian culture. That was a big point of it too, because there's the K-dramas which we were inspired by in terms of story structure and directing style. And obviously that comes from Korea. And then in terms of what Korean Australian culture is, it's a bit similar but very different. And so for Helen and Charles and Mina and our director, who were involved in this process, it was really about adequately representing Korean Australian culture and what that experience is like for them here.
And it was also filmed in Sydney.
Yes.
How was that experience, going on location, finding, a really good place to set the whole story?
Yeah, that was great. So I'm the only one in my team based in Melbourne. And this was all happening during lockdown. So we were doing a lot of video calls. A lot of my team were going on recce's and they were taking me on Zoom. And I was like, this looks amazing through the phone. So it was great because I definitely had a very supportive team around me. Helen did a lot of the location scouting. Our producer, Joanna Beveridge, she did a lot of that organization and going to a lot of the locations as well. And yeah, we found good locations based on our networks as an independent team. Definitely a lot of our locations, a lot of our crew, equipment hiring, all of that came from our networks and the people we knew. So we filmed a lot of the scenes at Hills Grammar in Kenthurst, which is our producer Joe's old high school. We filmed a lot of our other scenes around Sydney and areas that we knew and had access to as well, which helped us in terms of like keeping production costs down as well.
Nice. Yeah, very creative. Good idea.
Yeah.
You also got some support from Screen Australia. How did that come about?
We got a lot of support, significant support from Screen Australia. During the early stages of the creative process for me, I had applied to a number of different initiatives and like story development initiatives statewide. And one of them was the Digital Originals program by Screen Australia that they run each year for creative projects. And basically, if you get accepted into the program, you get to develop your web series, short form series idea into something that then can be brought out with, I think it was SBS and NITV at the time. So we went through that process. I did the application. That was when at the beginning it was just, I believe, Helen and myself. And then we didn't get accepted into that. So it was a hard rejection. Yeah, hard rejection. But at that time, I was really thinking about our project and thinking about the opportunity there was for it within the market. And I knew it was a very strong concept. So even though we were sad that we were rejected, I knew that there was still fuel for us to keep going. And then out of the blue, we got an email from Screen Australia. I believe it was one of the execs there or one of the representatives there who were like, we love your idea and we're interested in funding it if you can produce it independently. And so, yeah, that's how we got connected with Screen Australia. They saw our pitch from the previous digital originals. And basically, we developed it ourselves. We were on Zoom, like just doing our writer's room between the three of us, Helen, Mina, and myself, and getting the scripts ready. Joe was looking over them and just sending feedback through email. And we did production funding with Screen Australia. They funded the majority portion of it. We also had other investors on board as well. Yeah, that's how the Screen Australia funding came about. And the process with them was just incredibly supportive. Like, if you are an independent creator, independent producer, even an actor who's like, I'm not getting any work, honestly, write something. There are a lot of initiatives, or approach more experienced producer and go to Screen Australia, because at the moment they are looking for stories for the digital landscape, for online, for TikTok, for YouTube, Facebook. There's a lot of opportunity and they're very supportive. Like, no dumb questions with them. The amount that I was emailing them and just asking everything and anything, and they always came back with just so much encouragement, even throughout the feedback process after we'd shot the series and they were viewing the early cuts of it. They were just on board and loving it and giving us a lot of good feedback.
Oh, I'm so glad, even, out of something that seemed like, oh no, a devastating result, you didn't get it. That's still like the seed of now what is your show.
Yeah, because every application, you never know who's reading it and who's viewing it and what opportunity that could create down the line for you. So always put your work out there.
Yes, and never give up.
Yeah, that's right.
I also want to say congratulations to yourself and the whole team, because your web drama has got a whole bunch of accolades so far. I'm going to say so far because, onwards and upwards. I'm going to read them out, okay? I had to. Best web series at the Phoenix Short Film Festival in June, and best web/TV pilot/series, best actor, best actress at the LA Sun Film Fest, and official selection for the Lift Off Global Network Sessions 2023 event. Like, huge. How does that make you feel?
Thank you. It's great. It's a little surreal to think of, like, this idea that came up while I'm sitting on my bed in my pajamas has now gone out into the world, and there are people who have nothing to do with me and know nothing about me and my team, and they've watched this project and they've thought, this is great. Like, let's recognize it in some kind of way. I think that's something that's a huge achievement for us as a group, because it just shows that the hard work we put into this and the creativity and the idea we had really has resonated with an audience, which is what we wanted in the beginning.
Kudos to you guys for getting such international, response to a story that, like you were saying, you were like, it's just something I wanted to see myself in. But so many people also agree. Like, what a great show. Really enjoy seeing it. And yeah, it's just been on the up and up. So good work to you guys.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Our entire team is super excited, and it just definitely is a reflection of all of their hard work put together.
Now, what is next for No Ordinary Love?
Yes. So currently we are just in like a pre-development stage for a second season. Yes, as an independent creator, it's definitely about funding opportunities and acquiring that funding to be able to develop and produce the next season. But that is something that I am 100% have my eyes set on, and working on the story, bringing a different angle to Beck and Hyunwoo's love story. In season 1, we definitely got to see all of the drama and the comedy around Beck and Hyunwoo getting back together, having a second male lead and the classic love triangle trope in there. So that was fun.
Love a good
And
love triangle. I'm sorry. I
yeah.
love a good love triangle.
Can I know, who were you, Team Hyunwoo or Team George?
I was low-key Team George.
See? Then we did our job.
Okay.
Our one job when we were writing, and Mina can attest to this because George is her like creative baby, that character. Our one goal was to create a second male lead, and that connection between George and Beck be so strong that people would be like torn. Who are they going to choose, Hyunwoo or George? And we have a lot of Team George out there. We really presented Korean Australian culture and our take on that, our representation of that, just to pay respect and homage to the K-drama genre and style, because that's what our entire series is heavily influenced on. And so in the second season, we really want to now bring in Beck's side of the family. We want to showcase the Zambians. We want to showcase African culture and bring in some comedy, some drama, some new opposition from African parents. Oh, it's going to be great.
Oh, I am here for it. Look, I am ready for this one because as a fellow third culture kid, originally standard, like I'm sure there'll be some things in there that I will just be like, ah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we wanted to hit home. I think a big representation through Beck is we also want to represent the experience of firstborn African daughters, the trauma and the struggle they go through.
Look, I wish I could relate. See, I'm the last born.
I'm not a firstborn either. I'm the last born girl. So I'm like, I'm comfy.
We're good. We're sitting pretty. Yeah. But there's a lot that comes with, the responsibility of being the firstborn daughter.
Yeah. Yes. And how that affects, I guess, how you firstborn daughters in ethnic homes approach relationships as well. I think it's a big part and a lot of themes and experiences to explore as well.
What do you hope people get out of this web drama?
First and foremost, I want people to be entertained. Like that was always our goal as a team. We just want to bring entertainment. We want people to be able to laugh and connect with the story and swoon and just get butterflies when they're watching it. And then second, if they get something deeper out of it, that's just like a bonus. I think a big part of creating this story for us, especially the creatives, the key creatives and the actors, was having adequate representation for Black females and Asian men in romantic roles. It's something you don't see often. Often the stereotypes around that don't allow for Black women and Asian men to be in the romantic lead roles. Either they're the best friend, the supporting. There's also different ideas around Black femininity and Asian masculinity that sometimes can block those opportunities for actors to be in those roles. So we just wanted to show something different. We wanted to have a new take on the rom-com series. And yeah, since we've made the series, just seeing the changes in media, like a whole bunch of different movies that have come out that are portraying different romantic pairings and portraying Black females and Asian men in different roles that are not one-dimensional is so exciting. And I think it really shows the future of where our industry is going, which is nice.
How exciting. Again, congratulations on your web series, on all your accolades, and all the best for season 2.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me on. And I'm excited for your show. Back at it again.
Yes, yes, I am.